Good morning, everyone. We shall start with the last part of this unit, that is semi-structured data. And after this, we will just have the differences between the types of data. So if you have understood thoroughly the differences, finding out the differences will be easy. So let's get started with what are the characteristics of semi-structured data. So as per the definition, we know that semi-structured data means which is going to be half and half, that is half of structured data and half of unstructured data. So here also, since unstructured data is contributing here, this semi-structured data will also not be specific to any data model because it is half and half. So if you're talking about again unstructured data here, the characteristics are more of unstructured data that it does not conform to any data model. So the same thing follows for even semi-structured data. Now, since it does not have any data model, it means that we will not be able to store it in the form of rows and columns. Just like we need for a database. Whenever we talk for databases, we will want to store the data in a table format. We will see why we say that this does not conform to a data model. Why are we saying this? Because I said it will be half and half. I'm saying structured also and I'm saying unstructured also. Combination of this is going to be the semi-structured. Then why it does not fit to any data model? So we'll see ahead with the examples after the characteristics. Next thing is here the tags and the elements describe the data that is stored. Tags here, how do we identify what are the tags and what elements we are talking about here? If we talk about emails, specifically when we talk about emails here, we can identify a tag by like initially you have the to address to whom you want to send. So that is considered as one tag. Then if we are saying from or like you have received the mail, so from whom have you received the mail? That is another tag. Similarly, the subject that will add to a tag. So these small things of the data that is classified as a tag or that is going to be classified as an element. So this tags that we are able to access the data, that is we are able to extract the data with the help of these tags. So we can store such data, semi-structured data in the form of tags. Then again here for semi-structured data, there is no sufficient metadata available. Then attributes in a group may not be the same. Why do they tell us that attributes in the group may not be the same? Because have a look here at the two email addresses. Okay, just go through this slide. Two house addresses are mentioned and one email address is given to you. Now have a look at the first, that is the address one. Now the address of a house, you do not have specific rules again here how it is to be mentioned. Some people may write the house number, street name, area and city, while some people may just write like the address too, that is just the house number, street name and the city. No area is specified there. So that is why we are saying that attributes may not be the same. It we are There is no hard and specific rule for the data here that these number of fields only have to be there. These many attributes only have to be there. Like when I say address, what are the possible attributes for the address? We'll have the house number, or we can have say plot number or flat number. We may have the street name, then the area, then city, then the state, the pin code. So these are again not fixed. It will change as per the different people trying to write the address there. So that is why we say that these attributes may not be the same. Then have a look at the email again. I was telling you about the tags here. To, that is the name or that address, from, subject. Then CC is carbon copy again, the addresses, the email addresses. Then when we come to the body part here, what is the thing here? When we come to the body part, it is not fixed. Some emails may just have text, some emails may have all. It may have text, graphics, images. Some emails may just have links. Some emails may just have attachments and no text at all. So again here, if you consider the first four fields or the first three fields specifically, to, from and subject, these will be there. But when we come to the body part or when we come get inside the content of the email, that is not fixed here. Next, last one, similar entities are grouped. So what kind of similar entities are we talking about here? We will have a look here again. the same email address, we can, if you look at the structure here, we are able to group. If there are say 10 emails are there, so which all emails do you want to group, or what are the entities in these emails, on what basis can you group these emails? So you could group them based on who has sent, or from whom have you received, or from whom this particular email has got, you have received it. Then the subject, if all subjects based they are, especially in the organization, like yesterday we had a case wherein there are three doctors and they are discussing about a specific case. So you are able to classify, or you are able to pick out the emails based on the subject mentioned. But again here, there is no compulsion, or there may or may not be subject, the subject may or may not be specified here. Next thing is, have a look at this blood report for the semi-structured data. Now here, can you tell me which fields will will be classified under the semi-structured data? And looking at this blood report, can you judge that why I'm saying that we cannot store it in a database, or why it is not possible to store it in rows and columns? Why it does not stick to any data model? Have a look at the report here and see if you are able to judge. Yes, any inputs from your side? Now look at the fields there. The fields like date, then you have department, patient name, HB content, RBC content, WBC content, platelet count, then attending doctor and the patient name. Okay, these fields contribute to structured data. Here, these data you will definitely get. You are going to write it, and the way in which you write the data is fixed. Okay, the first field, this is the first field where data is written, that is actually date. It is not data, it is date. So when I'm talking about date, the format of the date is fixed. When I'm talking about department, the department is going to be one department which is fixed again. So these fields contribute to structured data. But have a look at the last two, that is diagnosis and conclusion. Now the diagnosis depends on how the doctor is going to describe it. He may just write one word to describe the disease. He may write all the subpoints. He may write the stages of the diseases. So it's again unstructured data. Then the last one, conclusion, again contributes to the text portion, or it could have the scanning reports, etc. So it is again contributing to unstructured data. So if you have a look at the report as a whole, it is a combination of structured and unstructured. That is why it is making up semi-structured data. So if I decide to store this blood report in my database, the first structured data, fine, there will be no problem. But when we come to unstructured data, typing in that entire text is also possible. You just put it as a text in a database. But what about if you have any images there, if you have some CT scans, that won't be possible. So that is why again semi-structured data, we are saying that it does not stick to data model, or we will not be able to store it entirely in the form of rows and columns in the database. So these are the characteristics. Then the same thing is mentioned here. Just go through the slide here. The last one here, semi-structured data, another example is given as web pages. Now, in the web pages, I told you yesterday also that we are saying it to be unstructured. When you move ahead, it will also be an example for a semi-structured data. So why semi-structured? Only you will have to change the way you look at the example now. Your perspective has to be changed here. When I'm saying semi-structured, because when you talk, what does an web page contain? If we currently just stick to the HTML language, the HTML part in the head portion will have the metadata. The metadata is fixed. That will be a part of a structured data. But when you come down in the body section where the main content of that web page is going to be mentioned, so that part which is having the main value for that web page, that is again unstructured data, because it can be made up of images, videos, text, just some JPEG, the animated images there. such kind of images will be GIFs. So only that part is also possible in your the web page. So that is why a web page will be contributing to again semi-structured data if you consider it to be as a whole. If you're just considering the section where you talk about the body part of the HTML, that is totally unstructured data there. Then what are the sources? What could be the sources? From where are we getting these unstructured data? So you can see there are emails. Again, email in the sense here it is body of the email, then XML, then you have TCP IP packets that you have studied in networking, how it works and how the data is transmitted there. Zipped files are there. Have a look at the other sources also. Now I want you to look at that integration of data from heterogeneous sources. Okay. So what are the sources? We will have a look now. Read these some of the characteristics that are given for this particular point here. We're talking for the unstructured for the semi-structured data that are coming from different sources. So what are those characteristics that is mentioned? So we have seen again examples how similar entities can be grouped and how entities in the same group, that is the address, how they do not have the same attributes. The attributes may differ. Then can you give me some more examples where entities have attributes but the attributes are not fixed? Can you think of any other example? Think of entities. You have studied the database, ER relationship diagrams. So can you think of any such entity who will have attributes but need not, there is no compulsion that all the attributes will be there?
Climate report.
A little loud.
Climate report, ma'am.
Okay, can you elaborate it?
Like we can have climate report, but it will be not fixed. Like what weather it will be, like rainy, sunny, or like something like that. Attributes will be not fixed.
Yes. Sometimes they may just give you the temperature. They will not give you any description, right?
Description.
Hmm. So that is good example. Then the next one also, you see the order of attributes is not necessarily important. Like if you have a look at the same example, like for the address, the way in which a person will write the address is not fixed there. He may not start directly from the house number. He can start from the street also. So again, the order in which you talk about semi-structured data or how the order is written for that address is not fixed here. And sometimes you may skip certain attributes also. So that is why not always all the attributes are required. Just like in the previous example, they have skipped the area. So size again will differ here and type of the same attribute in the groups also may differ. That is for emails. When you talk about email addresses here, we go back. When we talk about email addresses, okay, let me just have a look at the structure here. We have to, from, and subject. You are aware of this. Then now you have a look at this one. What are the possible ways in which an email address could be written? So you see the name before that at symbol, okay, at gmail.com or at yahoo.co.uk is given. So before that, one email address is giving you just PTW, whereas the first name and the last name is mentioned there. And another way is giving the first name and the last name's first letter. The first structure here is again not fixed. Some may even include numbers there. You can have an email address with a number also. So these are the different things wherein the attributes will be different. That is why they say different set of attributes. The next thing is I was telling you about what are the different sources, heterogeneous sources. Heterogeneous is which are different together, which are very much different, but they come together. Have a look at this particular diagram here. They have mentioned you the different sources which contribute to this semi-structured data and which are combined. Now, if you talk about RDBMS and OODBMS, they are basically as a whole they are just database systems, the different kinds of database. But when you take any RDBMS you take, or you take ODBMS, they will have a structure. When I say DBMS, it means again they have some structure, they have a schema there. Then what do you recall what is a legacy system you had in software engineering?
Yes, ma'am.
What is a legacy system?
Like it is built like many years ago, but
Huh.
due to the like modern time, the
Hmm.
upgradation will be given to that system.
Yes. So how do you like I mean, where will you classify it? Does it have any structure? Like I want to know, does it have any structure, or we will say that it does not fall to any structure there? I'll repeat my question. I'll frame it once again. When we talk for legacy systems, can you say that they follow certain structure? See, what you said, the definition for legacy is the old systems, which means data is there, and we are
Yes.
just upgrading the software. We are not going to work on the data again. Data is the same. We just want to use the same data again. So the way in which those older systems were stored will definitely differ now. Okay, that also has to be combined together if we are talking for semi-structured data and used in a particular way. Then what is a structured file? Structured file basically is all about metadata, like which is written sequentially, like a log would be maintained. That is a structured file. So if you have a look here, both the DBMSs, you said both together the RDBMS and the ODBMS contribute to one. That is one DBMS. They have same structure. Structured file will have a different structure here, and legacy systems is going to again have a different structure. So all these combined together, they have shown it as UIMA. Yesterday I mentioned this UIMA. Okay, it is going to contribute there, and this particular uniform access to multiple data sources will work on that UIMA, and this particular the four classifications, the data that you're getting from these will be combined or will be again integrated. So how it is integrated, how it would be combined is fetching or extracting a particular data based again on, if it is for database, indexing is possible there. And UIMA, it is trying to convert different images or videos or multimedia files into a text format. So that is how different sources can be integrated and still can be used. Then how do we manage these, since we are having so many different varieties of data in the semi-structured one? So how do we manage these? So you have schemas, graphs, that is graph based data models, and XMLs. Okay, what is a schema? Schema, whenever I say schema, it means a structure, a predefined structure. If you talk for database, it is a table, because you have fields, you have rows and columns. Then if I say graph based models, what is a graph? Graph basically you use, or I mean you have used to plot like the year versus the profits they have made, like that is, you're talking about the bar graphs, or you could talk about the pie charts, or you could also talk about those graphs which will have vertices and which will have nodes, and you have edges there. So even this is a graph. Now graph, when I say, different kinds of graphs will come to your mind, but what is the important thing here? It is a diagram, it is a pictorial representation. Okay, so based on the kind of graph we draw, the structure is going to be decided there. So they call it to be schemaless. Okay, then why is it self describing? Because pictorial representation, graphs are pictorial representation. So when you look at a graph, it is very easy. You will try to look at the data, I mean look at it, and you will try to understand the flow of data there. So that is why they say managing semi-structured data. If you try to put the data, you try to plot it in a pictorial form, or you try to draw it in a form of a graph, any graph, it becomes easy for you, rather than trying to extract it and put it in different formats, trying to convert it into a structured data, it would be better to put it in a graph, that is in a pictorial form, which is self-explanatory. And the last one is XML. Again, XML will have lot of this is one source to manage the data, but again, XML means here no fixed structure would be there. You're just going to have tags and n number of tags. Strict structure is not there. A rough structure will be always there for XML. But the advantage here, what in XML is, you will have hierarchy. That is, you will be able to decide the parent node, then the child nodes, sub-child nodes, like for XML, just like HTML. I'm not sure how many of you are aware of XML. When I say HTML now, since you have the started with HTML, you know how tags we write with those angular brackets, and inside we write the keyword there, HTML or head or the p tag. But for XML, they are all user defined. You can write your own tags there. A tag name could also be as class. A tag name could be as 6a, 6b. The tag name can be as per your wish. So if you have data and you try to put it in a tag structure, so that becomes again easy to identify the data that is present there, because again that will give you a semi pictorial representation. Then let's move ahead. So what are different ways in which you can store? See, wherever the title is mentioned as storage of semi-structured or structured or unstructured data, these are basically the challenges that you will face. Okay, in the examination, questions will be asked like, what are the challenges you face for semi-structured or structured or unstructured data? So you should be aware that you have to write these, the storage part. So what challenges can we face here? Why do you think they have mentioned as storage cost? How is storage cost associated with semi-structured data? Can anyone tell? See, you compare it with unstructured. When I said yesterday, even the cost for unstructured data will be more because data is vast, no doubt. But the way in which we can store it is not easy because computers cannot directly operate on it. So again, for semi-structured also, the storage cost is going to be huge because of the kind of data it has and the kind of structure it follows. Then RDBMSs. So what are RDBMS? Compare it again with your unstructured and structured. So in the database, we need a structure. But when we talk for semi-structured data, the way you look at the data is different. Half portion contains structured, which you are able to store. Like I showed you the blood report there. The initial portion you are able to store it in the database. What about the conclusion part and the notes that were mentioned? So that is not feasible to store such a data in a DBMS. Next thing is irregular and partial structure, self-explanatory because they are a combination again. Then implicit structure here is the you look at it and you're the moment you look at it, you're sure that the first it is a combination. There's some portion you clearly understand, which is following some particular structure there. But you look at the next one. We'll go back to this image here. If you look at this, the moment you get to see the first one, you're clear that okay, we can store this in the form of tables, in the form of rows and columns. But the moment you have a look at the last 2 points, it is not, you are not sure as to how can you store it. So that is what is implicit structure. The data itself will tell you that what kind of a structure it is following. It is half and half. Then we have the next one, evolving schemas. That is, as and how the data grows, the structure keeps on changing. As and how uh, uh, you talk about the same blood report there, as and how we are getting the data, the conclusion part, the last part, the notes and the conclusion part will go on increasing, but the first part will remain fixed. Only the data will change there. Then when I talk about web pages or when I talk about emails, the upper portion, the head portion is fixed. In the email, the to from subject is fixed, but the body of the email keeps on changing. Similarly, for web pages, the body, the content, the text, images, videos can keep on changing. Then, distinction between schema and data here. Since we are trying to get, schema is a structure. So, since we are trying to get the structure from the data, and sometimes for semi-structured data, the data itself we are using in tags there. The data itself, we will say that this is a tag. So again here it is not possible to distinguish between what is the actual structure and what is the data. Then some solutions they have given. XML. XML is again about tags here. So in XML we are going to make use of the data itself, the data that is there. Like we'll go back to, okay, we will take this email. In a tag, I could write the in angular brackets. Imagine in angular brackets, I will write as Patrick. In another tag, in the angular brackets, I will write as Mark. So here the data itself is acting as a XML tag, and the moment you look at the Patrick or the Mark tag, you are able to identify it to be a name. So one possible way is this, because XML provides you a certain kind of a nesting structure, that is one inside another. Then you have RDBMS as the second one here. So RDBMS, that is you are able to store only those portions of the data which appears in a structured form. So semi-structured data can be stored in relational database by mapping the data to a relational schema, which is then mapped to a table. So you try to put those parts of your data into the RDBMS which are contributing to some structure there. Then you have some special purpose DBMSs which are designed specifically to store semi-structured data. So I want you to find out what are the names of those special purpose DBMS which are able or which are designed to store only semi-structured data. Then last one is OEM. This OEM is a type wherein you try to put your data in the form of a graph. All the data that you have, you try to plot it in the form of a graph. You try to draw it in the form of a graph there with those vertices, edges, nodes. And again, that becomes easy because it is a pictorial form. So here is one example. Have a look at this. The graph that I was talking, or the OEM way that is called. Object OEM stands for Object Entity Modeling. So here, what are the objects or what are the entities? You have author 1. Let me just highlight it here. Okay. These parts, the author 1, then you have your author 2, DBMS, 1987. These all are objects and entities. So here you can see Scott, Jeff, then these two again. These are again entities and objects. And these where the last name, author, on the line where it is mentioned, author, year, URL, these all are contributing to leaf. They are said to be the leaf, or you can say that is giving you the description of what data is going to be stored at this particular end here. So if you look at this URL, it is saying that at this end an URL is going to be stored. So if you look at this, we will say this top one to be the root, and the first generation will be author 1, author 2, DBMS 1987. The next generation will be Scott, Jeff, and these two. So this is a way of trying to put the data in graphs. So this special purpose, this DBMS is done. Then how do we try to get the data, or how do we try to extract the data, and what challenges do we face? One is we have flat files. So again, flat files are those wherein basically all the logs would be maintained, just one below another, like it is just a text file. So again, you are trying to index it or trying to fetch the data with the help of any keys, primary keys, or you say identifying it uniquely is going to be a bit difficult. Then you have heterogeneous data. When we talk for semi-structured data, data comes from various sources. So that is why one problem is in the extraction is because it is heterogeneous. Since the data is again coming from different sources, you will have the incomplete or irregular structure because it is coming from heterogeneous sources. If it is coming from a database, you have a different structure, and if it is coming from a text file, it is going to be a different structure here. So that is why it is incomplete or irregular structure. So with this, let's go ahead to the next one. Read the description here that is given for flat files and heterogeneous sources and incomplete or irregular structure. Yeah, I have a doubt here in the chat box. Okay, Ritik is asking NoSQL databases, semi-structured data or structured data. Basically, this kind of SQL is used for storing unstructured data. Okay, it does not contribute to semi-structured others, but it is basically used for managing and processing unstructured. So, since it is having unstructured, it will also definitely be helpful for storing semi-structured data. But it is definitely not a structured data. It is used to process unstructured, so it will also be helpful, or it will also help you to manage as well as process your semi-structured data. So you have some solutions that are given here. Indexing, that is indexing in the sense, okay, now we're not talking about databases. We cannot index here with the help of database. This is semi-structured data. So how would you index it? You will index it by trying to draw graphs or pictorial representations. So see, at the moment we look at this graph, it becomes easy for us to identify. So you can index it like this. How would the indexing happen here? If I'm going to say author 1, which means this is going to act as my index, and it is having just two branches here, just two child nodes. So the indexing is quite easy in the form of a graph for semi-structured data only. Then we have OEM, which is again the object entity modeling, which talks about graph-based type of a modeling, and it makes it easier to index. Then we have XML, which is again talking about tags or a tree-like a structure, which will again similar to graphs, which will provide you nesting like parent node, child node, subchild nodes. So this is one thing. Then you have mining tools, that is the ready-made tools that are available or the softwares that are available in the market, which will help you to traverse through graphs or search through the graphs, and they might help you to provide some structure, not the entire schema or the structure, but some structuring will be possible with the help of mining tools. Then they're given a very small portion here for XML. So XML, the full form for XML is extensible markup language. Okay, this is the full form. Then what is XML? Just go through these slides here. Then they say it is open source markup language written in plain text and is software and hardware independent. So you will learn this in web. Tell me, what is the meaning of open source?
Whose source
Ma'am,
code
a
is
large
open?
number of people can contribute to the code
Hmm.
and
And correct?
It is
they can make
free.
new changes to it.
Hmm. Correct.
It
Any
can
more?
be accessed by anyone all over the world.
Yes, correct. So this XML is very easy because see that like no syntax, nothing is there. Everything you write in tags. That's it. Put it in angular brackets. Okay. One doubt here I have from Rohan, that is what language is used to manipulate semi-structured data, right? So for semi-structured, we will be using XML. That is why they have given you this XML. The solution is
Okay.
XML. I see you XML, no? Since you're going to learn in web, anyways it is not there here in BI. Just imagine tags. That will be easy for now. like I would write in Angular brackets HTML. Instead of writing HTML, no, there I could also write as Rohan. Rohan will be one tag. I could write my own name there. That is one tag. I can give another word like roll number. That will act as another tag. The only thing is you have to write it in Angular brackets and put it one inside another. Then what this XML is going to do, they have given here, that is used to store and transport the data over internet. And how? With the help of tree-like structure. Basically XML, the main purpose of XML using for semi-structured is you are able to store it in a tree structure. And it allows to define tags to store the data. So it's up to you. For if I look at the graph that I showed you before, again, I will say title to be one tag. I can say this DBMS to be one tag. So my parent tag here is year, and it is going to contain the child as 1987. So in XML, no, this is the freedom that is given. Okay, here some examples they have given. Have a look at the examples, how XML is written. So in the meanwhile, just drop the attendance. We are left with less than a minute. See, everything they have given in tags here, just like the way HTML is written. But in HTML, they are predefined. The tags are specific there. Instead of saying HTML, I cannot put in my own name. But for XML, no, that freedom is there. You can have your own tags. Library and title, author, publisher. It's all up to the user. Any tags he want, he can create and he can use. Then after this, now we are left with only these differences between semi-structured and XML you have.